Black Mesa is the fan-made remake of Half-Life 1 from Crowbar Collective that was so well done and so polished that Valve themselves gave them the go-ahead to sell it on Steam commercially and profit from it. The game was made with so much love that the original creators were legitimately impressed enough to be like, damn, this is good, y'all should probably sell this. The remake upgrades visuals in the environment, character models, and even expands and fleshes out the Zen levels later on in the game that many players felt were a little undercooked in the original Half-Life. But how is this experience on the Steam Deck? And if you've never experienced Half-Life 1, should you play the original or opt for the shiny new Black Mesa instead? Well, my name's Ross Dodona, and I'm here to give my humble opinion and answer both of these questions in today's review. First things first, let's get the obvious out of the way. They absolutely cooked here. With the original Half-Life coming out in 1998, video games have naturally evolved in how they look and feel, and if jumping back into those older titles that may show their age a bit in terms of graphics or mechanics sounds daunting or unattractive, it can unfortunately lead to many people missing out on some amazing games that defined the games we know and love today. Black Mesa does a great job of removing a lot of this barrier for entry for players that are used to modern-looking games without sacrificing the essence of Half-Life. I grew up a console kid, so the original PC release of Half-Life came and went unnoticed by me, and even the PS2 re-release years later flew under my radar. It wasn't until 2007 when the Orange Box came out. Real quick, shout out to the frickin' Orange Box, bro. Half-Life 2 and Portal. I didn't even touch Team Fortress 2, and this is still one of the best values in gaming I remember so fondly. But anyway, back to the review. It wasn't even until the Orange Box that I knew what Half-Life even as a series was. I played through Half-Life 2 and its subsequent episodes and it blew me away. And all these years later, Black Mesa gave me the same feeling. Black Mesa is my first real experience with the OG Half-Life and they absolutely nailed it. This is Half-Life. It looks, feels, and sounds like Half-Life in the best way possible. In fact, if I was less knowledgeable about games and gaming history in general, and someone just handed me a copy of Black Mesa and told me it was Half-Life 1, I'd believe them. I wouldn't even bat an eye because that's how much effort Crowbar Collective has put into preserving the atmosphere and experience from the original game. First off, it looks beautiful. Zen in particular is where I think Crowbar Collective did the heaviest lifting. Again, I haven't played through the original Half-Life, but looking at gameplay and screenshots online, Zen definitely got the biggest overhaul and it's absolutely stunning. The flora is colorful and dense, the floating islands look incredible, and the space-sky backdrop is just breathtaking. Zen was definitely a standout for me, and while some say it overstays its welcome, it's pretty enough and different enough from the first chunk of hours in the game that the new visuals, environments, and puzzles feel fresh. Overall, the combat is challenging but fair. The weapons are varied and feel progressively more powerful the further you get into the campaign. NPCs are hilarious and have some truly funny banter or comments on the events taking place that made me chuckle quite a few times. The all-new soundtrack is great and has some truly standout tracks that punch through right at pivotal moments, causing them to hit with more weight and elevate either the tension or triumph in those particular chapters. The puzzles and platforming are smart, really require you to use your brain to figure out where to go, what to do, and how to progress. I'm proud to say that I used absolutely no guides in my playthrough, but that doesn't mean that there weren't times where I was just sat there staring at my screen trying to figure out what the game was trying to tell me to do. But when you get it and it clicks, it really does feel rewarding, and there are some solutions where you're like, this should technically work, but there's no way that the game is actually that smart. And then it'll work. And it's just super cool that obviously Black Mesa has those moments, but even cooler when you realize it's a remake of a game before 2000. And it just really makes you appreciate Valve's game design, even back in the day. If you're anything like me and you've never played the original Half-Life, here's a quick rundown of the story. You are theoretical physicist Gordon Freeman, and you work at Black Mesa Research Facility. One day, while effing around with some alien rocks, we find out that sometimes, just because we can, doesn't mean we should. And a routine day at the office turns into World War Z. Aliens invade the facility, the military shows up to clean up the problem by killing everything and everyone, and that includes you. It's a pulse-pounding tale that takes you through the sprawling research facility, military bases, and even off-world, and it was truly a treat. But this isn't just a review of Black Mesa. It's a review of Black Mesa on the Steam Deck, and that's where this gets a little tough for me. There's a ton of great things that I can say about this game and that I've already said, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows, especially on the Steam Deck. For example, the game will crash in the opening monorail section if you're not on Proton Experimental. There's just no way around it. And honestly, even if you're on Proton Experimental, the game will crash multiple times anyway. Your mileage may vary, but please hear me when I say this is not a flawless experience on the deck. And if your tolerance for crashes is very low, then it might not be the way to experience this game for you. In my 23-hour playthrough, I experienced at least over 30 crashes, some within minutes of the last crash, others hours apart, but they were there constantly. If that's not frustrating enough, every time the game crashes, it resets the settings to their default status. So for me, that meant every time it crashed, I'd have to go into the settings, tweak the sensitivity to where it was comfortable for me, and then turn on the dialogue subtitles. And if I crashed 5 minutes later, I'd have to do it again, every single time. This was easily the worst part of the experience, and if I wasn't enjoying the actual game and gameplay so much, I honestly don't think I would have dealt with it. I've played other games on Steam Deck that have crashed 2 or 3 times within me loading it up, and I make the decision that it's just not worth my time and frustration, and I move on. And so while the experience is imperfect, let that also be a testament to how good the meat and bones and the core gameplay of this title really is. If you can stomach it, it's worth it. Performance wise, I capped it at 60 frames per second and it was stable for a lot of my playthrough, but there were definitely several sections where they dipped into the 40s, 30s, and in some extreme cases, the 20s. Zen, the alien world, while it is absolutely gorgeous, I don't think it ever stayed at 60 frames per second. So again, if you're particularly sensitive about frame drops, then the deck may not be your ideal way to experience what is otherwise a great game. Alright, so what's the verdict? I'm not going to do a numbered rating because my 8 or 9 out of 10 may look different than your 8 or 9 out of 10. Numbers are kind of arbitrary and I don't really think they tell the full picture. The real question you want to know is this worth my valuable time and my hard-earned money? And I can confidently say, yes, it is. You should play this game. If you enjoy Half-Life or first-person shooter games in general, you should absolutely play this game. And as a first experience for Half-Life, I think this is a fantastic way to experience the story of Half-Life 1 with a fresh coat of paint. If the dated visuals of the original just turn you off, or you really want the story and to live out these moments to give more context to Half-Life 2 and the overarching story of the Half-Life universe, all of that is here, and I'd easily recommend Black Mesa as your Half-Life 1 starting point. However, if you're going to be playing this on the Steam Deck exclusively like I did, then get it on sale. I was able to stomach the crashes and the reset settings because the game is so good, but also because the financial investment was so low since I picked it up on sale. If I had paid full price for this game and it proceeded to crash 30 plus times over the course of 23 hours, I can definitely see me being a lot more upset. So, in conclusion, play the game. My Steam Deck folks, get it on sale and go in with the right expectations, but there's a lot of good here and tons of fun to be had. Let me know your thoughts though. Have you played the original Half-Life? Do you prefer the OG or Black Mesa? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. But that's all from me today. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content and want to see more like it. If not, that's okay too. I still appreciate you for watching and listening to me talk about some games. Have a great one, and I'll see you in the next one. Deuces.